Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining our webinar today on freeing yourself from the perils of payroll voids. We have our guest presenter today, Deb Sletmo, who will be going through the PayrollRewind tool that we just released recently. So I'm excited about that. Before we get started, though, I just wanted to let you know that if you have any questions during the webinar, please open up that question area on your panel and you can enter it there. We're going to be monitoring that panel during the session. We'll answer the questions as they come in or at the end of the webinar today. We also, again, just always want to make sure that you're getting value out of these webinars, so always open to any feedback or questions that you have. Before we get started directly on the PayrollRewind tool, I just wanted to just give a brief overview of what wsTOOLS are. They are a set of tools that we as wsTOOLS Group have built to make the applications of GP and also KeyDAX signature easier to use. All of the things that we show you day in and week out are really coming from requests from our customers. These tools were designed to fix the needs of those customers coming to us with those pain points. So we definitely want to, again, if you see an issue or have a suggestion for a tool that we haven't already covered, we're always open to that as well. So today we are focusing on the perils of voids in payroll, and around that we have built a tool called PayrollRewind that Deb is going to go ahead and show you folks today. So I don't have any other slides, so without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Deb.
Perfect. So, Brian, thank you so much for getting us all started here today. And I know we've got a big group on with us, so make sure, Brian, you monitor the questions for me, will you? And we also have Margie in here today, who heads up a lot of our payroll support and payroll issues. And I know she typically finds lots of payroll items that she brings to us as suggestions, and we value those. And we also have Brandon here, who does a lot with our tools, as a lot of you know. So guys, feel free to add in where I might miss or not stress something as much as you guys would like. So we're going to talk about PayrollRewind. Okay, so everyone, let's start thinking about payroll and what our payroll people go through when they're doing a void process. So there's a number of things that happen during a payroll void, and we were trying to make that whole process very easy for our payroll people, that as they're going through a void, they're usually under the gun, they're trying to get them out, they're trying to get the checks fixed, and the last thing that they want to do is fight with voids, fight with even being able to get the void to show up in a window, being able to easily have the transactions come back from that voided check, and the most important part, correcting the ACH. So I'm going to walk you through it. So I'm hopefully, Brian and Brandon, Margie, you guys are all seeing my screen okay.
That's correct.
What we're going to do is I'm setting this up to run for a couple employees. So you can see that I just have it set up here. I'm going to go ahead and finish my transaction just like normal. So if your transactions were coming in from integration manager or from a time clock, maybe our time entry import, however your transactions are coming in, green shades coming in from their time advance entry, those time entries always end up here in our payroll transaction entry window, okay? So what we're going to do is anything that ends up here for an employee when we do a void is going to be returned upon your approval to this window as well. So think about things like federal tax, FICA tax, Medicare tax. That's never in this window, right guys? So what we're seeing here is just transactions that we're going to update. GP is going to run the payroll as normal, guys, okay? But what's going to happen is if I do end up voiding these checks, the ones for that employee are going to be the ones that are coming back, okay? I know when we were making this tool, everybody was like, oh, we got to get all that. It's like, no. Our end users just need the transactions returned so they can reprocess. And when people want their transactions returned here, it's because they probably got to correct an amount. Maybe they missed a pay increase. Maybe they missed overtime, right? Things that you catch when all of a sudden you're looking at those checks and they're coming out of the printer and you're like, oh, what did I do? Okay, and a lot of you don't have just 1 and 2 transactions for an employee. You might have hundreds of transactions for employees, and to be able to put those back in quickly when you're under the gun is time consuming and it's a nightmare because that's typically when we see more issues happen, okay? So what I'm doing here is I'm just setting us up to run this payroll, guys, and I will tell you that we don't retro this tool back, Brian. So what that means is we're collecting from the day you install it, go forward, okay? If that's a problem for some of you, let us know. Our team can add, but by default, we take go forward and start from there. So meaning my checks I start running today are going to be in my void table, okay? So I just got a couple transactions in for Alice, and Alice is going to be our one guy that we need to void, okay? And then I've got a transaction in for Pilar as well. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of my batch here, and I apologize, guys, you're going to have to watch me run this real quick. So Brian, if you want to check for questions real quick while I go ahead and process my build here.
I will do that. Please, again, enter your questions in the questions pane. We'll be monitoring that throughout the webinar. I don't see anything yet, Deb.
Perfect. I know. We probably just have boredom between PowerPoint and talking, so sorry, my fault.
No worries.
And I'm coming in here, and I'm just going to find my batch. It's right here, my 310. I got a lot of batches in there, like most of you guys probably have a lot of batches in there, so that's fine. And I'm going to go ahead and use my build here, just like a normal payroll. And as soon as my build's done, I'm going to switch over and I'm going to calculate. Okay. And there's my pre-check report, just like normal, okay? Just absolute normal payroll. Sorry, guys, I don't have my HR dictionary fully functioning over here, so don't mind that little guy right there. But just to know that my payroll is going off just like it should. I've got some Macorma windows coming up too, because I've got a Macorma ad here as we were testing for. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and print my checks. And remember, guys, just a training item here. Mine is set to print my check alignment. Remember, in your setup, you can change that. You don't have to do that check alignment switch every time anymore. Okay, easy setup. Okay, it's giving me my duplicates here, so everybody pay attention. My duplicates are happening. My checks can be printing to the screen. I know you guys are going to be super excited to see these checks. There's Alice, and Pilar is probably right below her. Okay. Oh, I take that back. Pilar is over there on my ACH.
Okay, got it.
Okay, got it. So I'm going to print my earnings statements now, and same thing with my earnings statements. I don't need to have that process running. Okay, screen. Okay, here. Okay. And I'm going to post this one through. So remember, my payroll just has to run, guys. Just normal process. My ACH is sitting there ready to go. Okay. Now remember the three things that we really want to check for when we're doing our void process. Most people can't get a void to come back into the window. Okay. That's a huge trouble spot for most of our payrolls. We're checking for that and we're fixing that, okay? So you will still be able to get that void into your window. So, let's see, gotta bring Alice up here. So here comes Alice, okay? If I redisplay here on Alice, Brian, you can see she's got hopefully a check here for 310.
Yes.
Okay, see my check down there, brand new check. And I'm gonna go ahead and click on that check. I'm gonna tell that check to void. And this really is where the whole process behind PayrollRewind comes into play. Because olden days, straight GP, this void would allow, number one, I can see it in the window, so that's a great thing, right? Number two, this payroll would allow it to void and would void correctly. So when it comes to everything around, 941s, W-2s would be correct as long as I didn't screw up my quarters, right? Keep in mind, you got to still have your, what quarter am I in, where am I voiding this to? Okay, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to check for that ACH, okay? This is my favorite thing ever, because if you've seen payroll people when they're down to minutes to get these things to the bank, the last thing they're going to think about is where am I at and how am I doing it? And I made sure our dev guys, who are fabulous, made sure they wrote in just some stop and think boxes. Have you sent your ACH to the bank yet? If you have, the last thing you want to do is do anything to disrupt that ACH file, okay? So if I say yes here, I've sent it, we don't touch the ACH file, guys, okay?
Right.
Because I don't want to alter that. That means that Margie, if she was running this payroll, she would be picking up the phone, talking to her bank, or she'd be going into her banking software and doing an edit there on Alice's payroll, okay? So she would be doing that manually. That's what that yes, no means here. Yes, I've submitted it to the bank. We don't touch it, okay? No means on PayrollRewind, it's going to go out and correct that ACH if it needs to, okay? Now, the rest of it's just my normal void process. So everybody just be ready because that void is just happening like I would expect it to. My posting journals, everything else is happening here as I would want it to when I'm doing a void. Okay, so two parts that you've seen so far on our PayrollRewind is, number one is we've taken care of the void not being able to even show in the window, which if you've ever had that happen, I've had people in complete tears. I can't get it to show up. I have to void it. What am I doing wrong? I typically fix those in the back in SQL instead of having the poor end user go through and do a manual entry, which is a nightmare when you're under the gun. The next thing we're doing is we're going ahead, verifying if we need to correct the ACH or not. Huge piece. If you don't have to worry about paying Alice twice in an ACH file, and you know if you haven't submitted it yet that we're taking that top ACH out, huge relief for our payroll people, okay? Now, this step right here, Brian, is probably my favorite step, okay? Because it's asking me, do you want to add the voided transactions back? Well, if I have hundreds of transactions, guess what? Of course I want them back. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to say add all those transactions back, okay? My favorite step is when I come back up here and I take a look at my new payroll batch that it just made for me. Remember, I've got kind of a messy demo script, or demo environment here, so forgive me. But you can see right here, there is Alice's transactions, okay? And forgive me, I ran this one a couple times today, guys, so it's my fault. We've got a couple more transactions in there than we wanted.
Yep.
I should have deleted my first batch, so forgive me. But you can see here, it added my 2 transactions perfectly in for Alice. And now I can reprocess those just as if I was processing her originally, okay? So everybody see how nice and seamless that was as far as getting the transactions back. I could start running this payroll again. When it comes to my generate ACH, you're going to see that generate ACH now, guys, is perfect. And I'll tell you, Alice was a check, so I'm not even going to be worried about Alice, right? But if I go back and I void, you can see my 310 here is my generate ACH. And I'm going to actually go ahead and I'm going to void Pilar's check off as well. You guys ready for Pilar's check to void? I know my group here is really excited. So I'm going to void hers off, and I'm going to redisplay on, whoopsie. I better get Pilar in as Pilar should be in here. Changing over to employee. I'm probably making you guys all car sick with my driving. Forgive me. Okay. And you know, Margie, how it is. When you want to find Pilar, she just doesn't want to come up. You know how it is. Anyway, maybe we won't be voiding Pilar today. We'll try this one a tiny bit different here. We'll go check number because she should be at the bottom of my check numbers. But guys, just looking for a little bit of feedback on what you guys are thinking as far as, you know, what you're seeing here. Is this something that you see that your end users would really, you know, take a look at and see some immediate relief as far as how we're processing payroll and what we're doing as far as correcting a lot of the huge pain points when it comes to being able to do voids.
Again, please enter your comments and questions in the questions pane there if you would.
Okay. Now I said yes on that one. So that means our ACH file would be exact as we left it. Okay, guys? Because I said yes on that one. Margie knows I really meant to say no on that, but she knows how click happy I am. But don't be alarmed. I have another one ready for us, too. So again, just so you can see how it's coming back, it's just going to add those transactions right back again, showing me all my voids. I want you to see that all of your registers are exactly as you would leave them as far as just, you know, expect them as far as doing a void. Okay, same thing with my check posting. Okay, then as I go in, and take a look at my batch again. Remember Pilar, she's a salaried employee. My thought there would be not to return her salary, guys. It's only going to return, and again, I've got a few more coming into my batch here, okay? So you can see Pilar has a few things happening here.
Yep.
So her salary really isn't, but she's got a bunch of bonuses that were on that run as well.
Sure.
Okay? So, Brian, I'm going to do one more if you're okay with it. Okay? We've got enough time. I know we've got a couple minutes
about
here.
10 minutes left. Yep.
Perfect. And then I want to make sure we have enough time for questions. So, because I know you've been accumulating quite a few questions in our question box. So I'll give you guys just a second here. I'm going to run this void one more time because, you know, this whole process just makes me tickled to think of how much our payroll, how many things we're bringing back to our payroll people right now where they are just being able to see these and not have to really stress over how to get a void to work in the window, transactions back, and fix the ACH process. Okay, so this one, I'm going to go ahead and void him, guys. Now, Margie's going to make sure I do it right this time. Right, Margie? Has the ACH file been submitted? I'm going to go ahead and say no there. Okay, I'm going to cancel on the rest of my journals. So that means that process right there, we fixed the ACH. So when I go ahead and I generate that ACH one, and I know I could probably shut off a few of my journals there. I'm going to add those back because I do want to set them back up. Now, if I was just paying someone, Brian, and they had left and their supervisor failed to notify me and they were in my system, I might not want to add those transactions back. That's why we give that last option. I don't know if I clarified that before, so I just wanted to bring that piece back to everyone's attention. So guys, the big piece we did here is we are fixing the ACH file. So what you're going to notice is when I run my ACH file here at 310 and I tell it to create that file, this file really should be pretty empty right now. So everybody hang on, let's see what we get. Okay, and you can see she's got just a little bit, and that could be from one before, but her main one, her larger one that we ran, is already cleared off. Okay?
Sure.
So I probably should have showed you guys that one before and after, but you've seen that my good demo skills there going in full action when I hit the yes instead of no. So I didn't want to chance it and have us run out of time and really not show you that whole process. But we tried to think of everything that would really make our payroll people, you know, things simpler as they're going through voids. And anybody that has ever had to do the manual check window knows that when you're trying to get a back out of a check using that manual check window, there are so many things that just can go wrong, and I will tell you, they all do. And typically what my payroll people are telling me is I was trying to do it too fast, I was trying to get it all done because the check stub has to be right, and I had to get that check out, and it's just a disaster, right? So what we try to do is get people out of the manual check window for voids, get it back to where it needs to be, which is in regular processing, and I think we did a really good job of that, Brian. So Brian, I'm going to let you go ahead and turn over to questions and let me know what pieces I can help with.
Okay, yeah, we have had a few questions come in. Please continue to submit them in the questions pane. First of all, we had a question or a comment that this would be a great time saver, but an associated question would be how much setup is involved in setting up PayrollRewind?
No setup really at all, guys. All we really have to do is do a quick install. There's a dictionary, of course. We do a quick install on your machines, and you are ready to go. Okay?
Great.
So it is not a hard process at all to get set up and running. Product is fully available right now. We, of course, always appreciate any feedback as you're running it, but if you have a test environment and you want to do a little bit of testing on that, I think Brian could maybe make some arrangements there.
Yep, and you actually answered the next question is, when is it available, or if it was available, and you already answered that it's available now.
It's available now.
And how do they get it? Well, contact your partner, your GP partner, and they can reach out to us here. I'll have a slide here in a moment of our contact information. They can reach out to us, or if you have any questions that you think of after this webinar, just reach out to us. We'll answer them, and then we'll pull in your partner record as well to facilitate the order.
And I think, Brian, for our payroll customers that attend today, because I know we value your time. Fridays, we try to do a lot of payroll webinars on Fridays because we know you guys all have a tiny bit of, okay, we can breathe now because everything is done. Even though employees might be getting checks today, the hard work that they've done all week is really their Friday reward, right? So, I mean, our payroll people that attended today, and Brian, you let me know, but I think you throw in a W-2 safety net for anybody that attended today, that you can give that back, because again, it's just another way to get a little bit of stress off of payroll. So if you can make sure that Brian knows that you are interested to get that W-2 safety net as part of your purchase, okay?
All right, sounds good, sounds good.
Any other questions from the audience? Sorry, we kind of got off into delivery and how do you do it and what does it take, but I'm telling you guys, it's a super quick, easy install. And really, I mean, the main thing is, I always like people to have a tiny bit of training too, just so that way you guys practice it in your test companies, know how it's going to work, and away it goes.
All right, we'll give everyone another minute or so to submit a question. Oh, pricing. We've got a question on pricing, and certainly you can contact me, and we'll get you pricing around PayrollRewind.
Perfect.
Or again, go through your partner, and
Yep.
We'll facilitate it that way as well.
It's a nice, handy little tool. Takes, I'm going to say, minutes, guys, to get this on machines. And if you are really concerned about, let's say, even the last month, Brian, of payroll, that you'd say, you know what, it might be nice to have that last month. We've got people, your partner can help as well, get those values into the table, and once they're in the table, then you could go ahead and void those checks. The only thing we can't do until it starts is we're not collecting the data into our storage table so that we can move it back, okay? Yeah. So that's really the key with our PayrollRewind. But what we're hoping is the people that need this tool, that we get it working for them as quick as we can, because it's a huge time saver.
All right, we just had another question come in. Let's see here. Does this flow to all of the buckets, such as taxes, deductions,
the void,
and benefits? For example, if the 401k was changed from 3 to 6% on the rewind, will this process the taxable wages and taxes?
So guys, great question, Brian. Great question. And what you're going to see is the void works exactly as if you voided it in GP, okay? So any transactions that someone keyed into the window are going to be returned, okay? And then if you needed to make a change on a deduction or a benefit, 3% to 6%, you make sure you do that change, then process your payroll, okay? So really, we're not stepping on any of the calculations or the void process. We are simply putting the pieces back so somebody doesn't have to rekey them, okay? We are correcting the ACH so someone doesn't have to do that secondary step of, oh my gosh, I gotta remember to call the bank, or Susie's going to get 2 checks. No, this part right here is seamless. Since it's being a void, if you're running positive pay on your checks, again, that's going to be marked as a void. So when you're submitting your your positive pay file, it is going to be correct. So we really try to take all of the areas where it could be troublesome out. Does that help answer that question, Brian?
I think so. Okay. Rob has a question. Thank you, Rob, for submitting another one here. If using BSSI's MEM module, as it's multi-company orientated, has this been tested in that type of arena?
You know what? I don't know if we've tested it with multi-entity, because I will tell you, where multi-entity layers in, we are not touching any of the process there, but I would be happy to test it with full-blown multi-entity, or again, Brian can set up a testing session with end customer if the partner would like. Yep. And we can actually put it on and do a few test scenarios. So definitely, again, remember, we're putting the full transaction back. We're voiding as void process in GP. We're reprocessing back. So really, we have very little touches to data changes. So the main thing there, Rob, I think that was your question, is to make sure that that multi-entity layer is coming into our shadow table. And I could take that back to the dev guys and just make sure, but it's an easy test as well. Okay?
All right, thank you. keep them coming. If you have any additional questions, I don't see any additional one. Let me just check one final check here.
Do you want to open up the phone lines too? Take everybody off mute, just in case anyone has any questions. Some people don't like to type into that little bitty box, and I don't blame you.
All right, I'll see if I can do that for if I can unmute everyone. So
guys, if you have questions, please let us know.
Okay, I'm unmuted, everyone. Any other questions?
No question, just a great comment. You guys do a great job on these little snippets. I love it. So,
all right.
Keep it up. Keep it up. Okay.
Appreciate it, Rob. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. We appreciate your feedback.
All right. Anything else?
Sorry about that, guys. We had a couple more microphones going.
Yeah. All right. Let me just check one final check on the questions pane. If we are good, I think we're going to go ahead. We're up against our time frame here.
Okay.
We'll go ahead and end this session. Thank you again for attending. Just to let you folks know, next week we are highlighting Dispatch Center.
Wow.
Our Dispatch Center tool. The first session is Tuesday at noon Central Time. That's a 30-minute session around Dispatch Center that's being hosted by Key to Act. We're presenting it, but Key to Act is hosting it. And then Thursday at 10 o'clock Central, we are doing a more extended version, about a 50-minute, really deep dive into Dispatch Center. So if you're interested in that, please go out to our events page on our website and go ahead and register out there.
Perfect. Dispatch Center's got a lot of cool new features that I know all of you are going to want to see and get your customers to. So please let us know how we can help. Hopefully Payroll Rewind is exactly what your customers are looking for, and we're here to deliver those.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.